it would be remiss of me to talk to you about your beauty routine without mentioning your enormous hair, which everyone has their own beauty trademark. I think every woman has a thing that she's known for, and you are all about the hair.
Thank you.
We could not argue the fact that you are all about the hair.
Well, for me, I think hair's a really working class thing. Like, I mean, particularly was for me anyway, because if you're really poor, then you know, you can't buy a beautiful dress, and you haven't got amazing accessories, and you probably can't even afford to buy makeup, or not that much. I mean, it's going to be Barry M or nothing. I mean, there were times where we used to draw on our faces with felt tips before particularly great nights out. But hair is something that you can make look amazing for free if the whole thing you want to do is make it look big. All you need is a comb, and you can suddenly have gigantic, enormous, glamorous hair. So yeah, you know, just simply from a class wall point of view, I love my big hair.
Certainly by the time you ended up on telly as a teenager, your hair was massive.
Yes.
Had it been massive for a long time prior to that?
Yes. My plan was just simply to just get as much hair as possible. I was basically like some kind of hair farmer during my teenage years. I would just simply feed the land on which the hair would grow in order to make it as gigantic as possible, because it was my only beauty resource. But it'd be very carefully put away most of the time. I would have it in plaits, like a Victorian girl, in order for it not to get knotty and to keep it silky. And then if I was going out, suddenly the hair would be unleashed, and the hair would be brought out for special occasions and then put back away again in plaits.
Talking of being a teenager, you're the mum of 2 little girls.
Yes.
And they're sort of getting to the age where they're starting to think about this sort of thing. Is that a scary thing for you, given how much sort of pressure there is and sort of ideals of beauty we're shown?
Well, I mean, we've just been so lucky with our girls, whether it's because of like kind of how we've raised them, or I don't know, particularly contrarian streak in them, but they're both really kind of, they seem to be at the moment, and they're 11 and 10, completely inured to all those kind of pressures of, in fact, they're both very anti the beauty industry, anti that kind of pressure to grow up really quickly and be a teenager. I mean, when I go out, I mean, I so rarely wear makeup. I wear makeup once a week when I go out.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'll come downstairs looking like this, you know, like this. This is me going out for a great night out. And Dora will go, why do you feel the need to wear makeup? Don't you feel beautiful enough? And you'd be like, well, yeah, but I just started muck about a bit. I didn't tell them my reasoning that I'm trying to look like a puffin, but they'll just be like, Mummy, why can't you just be confident in who you are? And it's like, all right, Oprah, get off my back. I'm going out with my mates, all right. Yeah. Because I don't want her to feel that at the point where she does start getting interested in makeup, she's going to have to come to me and kind of climb down and go, oh, I am suddenly interested in makeup now, I take it all back. So I'm kind of almost being like a nicotine of lip balm and kind of going, look, this has a slight tint. Why don't you just experiment with this? Let's see what's happening.
First one's free, love.
Yes, come on, just have a go. Your lips will feel all soft.
Where are your limits in terms of beauty? What, you know, where do you just kind of go, enough, I'm not doing that? I mean, you talk a lot about things like, you know, waxing and Botox in How to Be a Woman. How do you feel about those sorts of things? Where are your limits?
Well, I mean, I do wax myself. I wax my legs because I recently went back to trying to shave my legs again, and remembered why I'd stopped. I just came up in an absolutely astonishingly vicious rash that I've just been scratching at, like I've got leg aches for the last 4 days. So you know, from my point of view, waxing is practical. Sometimes I'll wax my, sometimes I'll shave my armpits, sometimes I won't. Sometimes I just quite like the idea aesthetically of kind of like wandering around with a little bit of fluff there. I think it's quite cheeky, the little cheeky damp curl of hair. I think it looks quite good. Yeah. I used to wax my moustache fairly regularly, but now I just can't be bothered. I mean, there's a bit there, but I just sort of, usually there's a fag there hiding it. So I mean, it doesn't really make that much difference. With Botox, I mean, the problem with Botox is that, like, you know, if some people will want to look young forever, and for some people that's something that will suit them, and that's fine. So I would never outlaw Botox. I would never kind of say, oh, you shouldn't do it. But it's just the fact that all women are supposed to stop aging around about the age of 38 that makes me sad. If it was there as a legitimate choice amongst millions of other choices for women to look younger and more beautiful all the time by spending an enormous amount of money and doing something that was slightly risky, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But it's just the fact that you're seen as aberrational if you do age. And of course, that's just insane if you think about that for 30 seconds. And also the unfairness of it, you know, my catchphrase for feminism is, you know, is this something the boys are having to worry about? And the boys are most assuredly at 38 not standing in the mirror going, oh my god, I might lose my job because I look like a hag.
Yet to hit their prime.
No, they're just wandering around looking like fucking wizards with their guts hanging out with massive beards, and they look really hot that way. We both have a fondness for that kind of guy.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's not that many men who'll go, well, you know, I love a Mary Beard type. But aesthetically and proportionately, as a percentage, there must be men who do, but they would never say that. That would be seen as weirder than saying, I would like a woman with massive false breasts out to here that have to be pushed around in a wheelbarrow.
Well, you can turn on the TV and you can see a programme co-hosted by an 80-year-old man and a 38-year-old woman who feels like she has to look 30.
Yes.
Which is extraordinary. So she feels she's too old at 38, standing next to a pensioner.
I find the horrible. I mean, it's one of those things that kind of, I'm not that militant in many ways. I'm kind of like, hey, it's all pop culture webs. But when I see a very young female presenter next to a really old male presenter, like you've got like Terry Wogan and Fern Cotton.
Yeah.
And you're like, has it always got to be daddy and the little girl?
Yeah.
Or granddad and the little girl?
It's skeevy.
It's really upsetting. Or like, Philip Schofield next to Holly Willoughby. You're like, oh, come on. She wouldn't be hanging out with him in real life. Like,
which is why Philip and Fern was such a joy.
Yes.
It was a total joy.
Yeah.
And which is why everybody loved them together.
And you so rarely see that now, and why I love Richard and Judy as well. Just kind of like, it's just like, don't you see, it just looks it looks against nature.
Yeah.
It just looks bizarre.
Yeah.
So that's sad to me, and that's why, false ideals of beauty and that kind of very stylized, very glamorous kind of dynasty barmaid kind of, there's a big working class, the impetus towards that kind of false glamour, that Pat Phoenix kind of thing. And I love all of that. It's just when it's seen as weird if you don't buy into it, that's where I start worrying. And also, it costs an enormous amount of money.
Yeah.
Women are already financially at a disadvantage in this world, and when they're supposed to be spending their yacht money or their pension money on repeatedly having facelifts, so their husbands won't run away. That's the other thing. And again, also, when women do that, you just think,
scared.
You're scared. Something your husband is doing has scared you.
Yeah.
You are worried he's going to fuck off, and you're having to spend your yacht money on trying to keep him there. I don't know that many people in like really properly equal happy marriages where the woman is having massive amounts of plastic surgery and the man's just aging in the normal and natural way. So it's always a bit of a kind of warning sign for me. Like, and I would feel embarrassed to project that.
What you do is you need to marry a man with failing eyesight.
Yes.
This is what you need. A specky boy is
the
dream.
Well, my husband has very poor eyesight, and also he's very forgetful, so he also keeps losing his glasses as well. So I mean, for months on end, he just is functionally blind. Yeah. Every so often, I'll just grab his hand and put it on my face and go, I'm still here, darling, I'm still here.
See, this is the dream. You'll never need Botox.
This is all that he knows. Just simply a smell and a touch of face.
One thing that you have changed since you've got older is that, you've talked a lot about being overweight as a child and a teenager.
Yes.
You're in really good shape now, but I know...
technically not overweight. The first day that I realised I wasn't technically overweight, it was like, never thought this day would come.
You're really health conscious.
Yes.
As a person, when we go out and eat, you eat heartily, but you eat healthily.
Yes. Yes.
And you run.
Yes.
What else do you
And then afterwards I smoke and drink to excess. My take on, because there's a big argument that kind of, you should be happy to be really overweight, or kind of, and I just think, maybe that is true, but I just kind of think sensibly, human beings are meant to sort of move around a bit and enjoy their bodies. I think you're going to enjoy adrenaline. To be able to dance is, I think, a human privilege, and one that I wanted to enjoy that I couldn't when I was overweight. And to be able to run is a really exciting thing. To be able to run down a hill like a child would or like a dog would. Basically, if children and dogs are doing it, or David Bowie, I want in. So that was my rationale. So I've been really overweight for years, and there was just one day when I was a size 24 at that point, and I was just lying down in bed, and I could feel my own neck suffocating me.
Jesus.
And that was a bit of a kind of, my neck shouldn't be killing me. That's going to look really embarrassing on a gravestone. So the next day I went and bought a bicycle, but my rationale at that point was still very female, and so I bought the biggest, chunkiest bicycle that I could, because I thought that proportionately it would make me look thinner when I was sitting on it.
Yeah.
So I bought this
like a big handbag.
Yes, or making my hair big, which is the rationale behind that. But this bike was so big that I couldn't cycle it home. It was a massive mountain bike, and I was very dangerous. But I just immediately started that week. I just started cycling and swimming 3 times a week, and really enjoyed. The weight just fell off instantly, and I just really enjoyed having a body again. I just thought, it's a bit sad to have lived all your life and to only feel that you're a brain. I want to experience my body as well before my knees go and before I'm shoveled into a hole in the ground. So it was just simply, it was from a pleasure point of view. It wasn't done from a moral point of view. Sometimes there's supposed to be some moral impetus and you're losing weight. It wasn't done from shame. It wasn't done to pull. It wasn't done from vanity. It was just done from joy. Well, you've been
with the same man, enormously fat and really, really slender and healthy, haven't you?
I know.
And he's never...
It's really funny. When we first started going out with each other when I was 18, he would just go, I just love your ass. That's the thing I love about you. I love your ass. And now he'll just go, I just love your ass. The thing I love about you is I love your ass. They were so different over 20 years, to the point where you're like, are you lying? Could you really have been into that one and that one?
I'll take it.
Yeah, he's a very flexible man.
Just take it. Good.
So no, and then also with food as well. Like I'd been a comfort eater. I was, I was kind of, I had a lot of my issues were mainly about food, as they often are. Again, if you're working class and you're poor, you can't afford heroin. You have to make do with bread. And I read, she's enormously discredited now, but I read Dr. Gillian McKeith's book about food, and she, there's loads of bollocks in there about all these supplements she's trying to sell you, but it was the first time I'd seen someone write, there are certain things you'll need to eat every day to be healthy. She was just going, you need to eat this amount of vegetables every day. You need to eat, different coloured things every day, so you're getting all these different vitamins and stuff. And basically she was just like, if you can eat all the things that you need to eat in a day to be healthy, and you can fit some cake in on top of that, then good luck to you. Go for it. And that just changed everything, because I just suddenly started eating what I needed to eat rather than...
But you at no point shat in the Tupperware and presented it.
Well, obviously at festivals. I mean, you try queuing up for those toilets. Pooing in a carrier bag and throwing it over a hedge was one of the first skills that I learned as a music journalist at a rock festival. That and being able to wee by not wearing knickers and spreading out your dress around you, and doing a festival wee by just quietly tinkling on the grass. Which almost always works unless you choose to sit on an ant nest when you do that. Ants do not like being pissed on. They will get very angry. They will attack.
No,
they will burrow deep. They will be angry. So that changed the way that I ate. I just kind of now just sort of eat all the things that I need to eat in a day. And then if there's any room on top, then I'd eat an enormous amount of crisps.
One thing that I don't think people know about you, that obviously you and I have talked about quite a lot, a passion that we share with our mutual friend India Knight, is that you love perfume.
Yes.
You love perfume, don't you?
Well, I mean, a lot of this is from growing up in a very smelling house. I mean, we had 8 children. At one point, we were breeding Alsatians. So the overwhelming smells that you'd have in that house were either potatoes that had been on the boil for 4 hours, that just literally turned to mash in the pan without any kind of human intervention, and enormous amounts of Alsatian shit, and damp towels, and mildew, and BO, and fags. So yeah, smelling perfume, and that's why I still have an enormous fondness for Chanel No. 5, because second only to Febreze, that shit will cover up anything. If you're a smoker and you're a drinker, Chanel No. 5, just 2 squirts
like
of that,
a weapon,
bang.
No. 5. It
Yes.
just makes you feel ready.
Yeah.
I always think it's like having a pistol in your knickers.
Yes.
It's just like, come on, I'm wearing No. 5.
Yeah, and also you just go, well, this is class. This is, we don't need to argue about this. It's just that, it's like the Beatles. It's absolutely unarguable. I'm wearing Chanel No. 5. Fuck off.
Totally.
So I love that. But so I love musky, heavy things, and I went and did that thing with Roger Dove at one point where you go through this enormously long analysis that takes 3 hours, and you're made to smell all these things, and they tell you at the end of it what kind of perfume you like. And at the end of it, you generally like perfumes that are very musky and based on tobacco. I was like, I could have told you that at the beginning. Oh, faggy musk, yeah. Could have told you that very early on.
So what did they give you?
What did they give me then? Oh God, there was a Miller Harris thing. Have I still got it down?
Did you have a Caron? Did you have tobacco?
There was Tobacco Blonde.
Yeah.
And India Knight gave me, because they changed the formula, and India had an original formula of Tobacco Blonde, which I've got up there.
Before the European regulations, which destroyed so many perfumes.
Really? Why? What was that? Because they wouldn't
Because
let them...
they banned loads of ingredients that were known irritants.
Oh.
So lots of classic perfumes have changed formulation and they aren't what they were, so she gave you a pre-regulatory one.
I love that India's basically just got like bathtub gin. She's got her own perfume still, and she's handing it out. Well, no, she gave me an original of Tobacco Blonde, which does smell completely different to the... It's just got a better link. 2 hours later, it smells completely different to the reformulated one. So yes, so they recommended Tobacco Blonde. But at the moment I'm on Vetivers, I'm going through a Vetiver phase.
Vetiver's wonderful. Which one are you using?
Lalique's Encre Noir, which has got an amazing... You just chuck it over here.
I can see it. Let me get it.
So yeah, so that... And it's just a beautiful bottle as well. This one's the smashed one. When I went to... I went to some award ceremony. I ended up in a bar with Stephen Moffat, who writes Sherlock and Doctor Who, both of shows of which I'm very fond of. And at one point I was criticising Doctor Who so much that he went, well, you write one then. And I went, well, I will. And he went, well, what would you do in it? I went, Daleks need to have sex. And he was like, how would they do that? And I just picked up the salt and pepper set and was going, like this. That's the last thing I remember. So next thing I know, jump cut in the way that you are when you're drunk. I'm standing on my front doorstep, rattling in my handbag, trying to find my keys, and this falls out and smashes onto the floor, and the atomizer's fucked now. So there's £100 worth of perfume in there that I can't get to, and sometimes I really sadly try and milk the teat like this. I'll kind of like be desperately kind of go milking the teat, but it just won't come out. And I went on Twitter and asked anybody if they had a spare thing to put on top of it, and no one did.
For you.
Please do. Please do. I mean, look at that. It's just look. I'm just trying to. It's pathetic. It looks like I'm self-harming with £100 worth of.
It's bliss, though.
Oh, I love it so much. No, I've got another bottle downstairs, but that's my favourite. That and Kiehl's No. 6 Original Musk, which again is another good fag coverer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love a musk.
Yeah, I love perfume. I love that you love perfume. Thank you so much for showing me around your bathroom. It's been excellent. Thank you, darling.
My absolute pleasure, darling. You're coming back next week and we're going to do this all again, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Every time.
There's more carver in the bottle. I've seen it. I'm not letting her go.
Now you can go out. You look amazing.
Thank you very much. I shall.